Hi everyone! Are you feeling overwhelmed by the constant mess at home, but struggling to find the time to tackle it? In today's video, we are diving into how you can rearrange your priorities across different areas of life to finally create space, not just in your schedule, but in your home too. We are going to uncover simple yet effective strategies to free up your time and energy for those long overdue decluttering sessions. Life is often a balancing act between work, relationships, health, and more. With so much going on, it's no surprise that decluttering our homes often falls into the bottom of our priority list. People often prioritize immediate, more urgent tasks over decluttering, especially when they don't perceive the mess as a critical issue at the moment. However, by rearranging your priorities across some life spheres, you can create the time and mental space needed to tackle your clutter and bring order to your living space. Watch this video until the end and you'll learn how to make your priorities work for you, not against you, and help you declutter effectively. Start by taking an honest look at how you currently spend your time. You can use the areas from a classic balance wheel of life, which you can easily find online and customize to fit your needs. This means you can add life areas that resonate with you or remove those that are not relevant. If you don't interact with friends or find yourself unsure if some other area is actually represented in your life, feel free to omit that area. Our current goal is not to create the perfect wheel of balance, but to define what life areas are present in your life now and understand how to find time for decluttering. An effective approach is to observe your daily activities over the course of a week, recording everything you do and the time each activity takes. Afterward, you can categorize everything you did during the week into the areas you've defined, detailing how many hours each area consumed. If you are already in the process of decluttering, you can allocate a separate area for it or integrate it into another relevant category. Personally, I include it in my home category. I prefer analyzing the results in percentage terms, so I convert all recorded hours into percentages. However, feel free to use whatever method suits you best. The total should equal no more than 100% or 168 hours per week. If your total is less than this, the remaining time can be categorized as other or something like that. For visualization, you can arrange the resulting categories on a priority ladder and label them with their percentages. You can put areas of equal importance on the same rung. You can certainly use the results to improve your life overall. However, since this video focuses on how priorities can assist with decluttering, that's what we'll discuss here. To start, we need to determine how much time you are lacking and how much time you consider reasonable to allocate to decluttering. This depends on your current stage of decluttering, your energy level, your goals for decluttering, and your life circumstances. If there's only a small amount of clutter, a daily 15-minute decluttering method might work for you. But suppose you don't even have those 15 minutes because all your free time is consumed by other tasks, such as preparing for a child's birthday, completing paperwork for the bank, or just resting. In this case, your goal is to carve out an additional 15-30 minutes a day specifically for decluttering. Look at your priority ladder and ask yourself, from which area can I take these 15 minutes? Perhaps from work. For example, you can use a break to declutter if you work from home. Maybe from leisure by cutting down on TV or social media time. Or review the life area that you called for other or miscellaneous, because there might be 15 minutes you can reallocate. If you're just starting the decluttering process and your home is significantly cluttered, like mine is, you may need more time in the first few months to trigger an avalanche effect. Do you remember the snowball effect I mentioned in one of my early videos? So in cases of severe clutter, you can need to borrow more time than just 15-20 minutes from another area of your life, at least in the beginning. Decluttering for 15 minutes a day is still helpful, even in a heavily cluttered space. However, maintaining motivation might be more challenging, because progress will feel slow, and the process could stretch on for months or even years. For larger decluttering sessions, which have to be carried out over several days or maybe months, it can be time-saving to finish a certain process before a longer break. Otherwise, clutter may return to its original state, and you'll have to start all over again. For example, in 15 minutes, you might only manage to pull items out of a shelf or cabinet without sorting them, which is going to create piles on your table, couch, or floor until the next session. If you have small children, these piles can end up scattered throughout the house. If you have pets, they can also contaminate or damage items that are left unprotected, which can create even more work for you later. What I'm trying to say is that larger decluttering projects require momentum, and you can need to allocate more time to them. When I tackle major decluttering projects where the process can take a longer time, I use a step-by-step strategy which allows me to declutter effectively, even if there are long breaks between each stage in the process. This strategy helps me to complete what I've started, even if the process takes several weeks. You can find a link to the video on this strategy in the description below. When we elevate one priority on our list, something else inevitably has to move down. For many of us, prioritization is a difficult and painful process because every life area can seem important, and we can really feel reluctant to take time from any of them. Sometimes we have to take time away from areas that are deeply meaningful to us, like family, work, or health, to focus on decluttering. But let's be honest with ourselves and acknowledge that cluttered spaces are already stealing time from these life areas, albeit reactively. For example, mess and chaos frustrate us and sour our mood. Clutter drains our energy that we'd rather spend on something meaningful to us, right? We lose time for family and relaxation because putting out fires in cleaning consumes our time, energy, and health. Now, by consciously planning and dedicating time to decluttering, we take control. We make the decision to temporarily deprioritize a certain important area for 2 or 3 months, viewing it as an investment in that very area. It's essential to understand and recognize the ripple effect of a clutter-free home, a positive impact that extends to other areas of your life. By devoting more time to decluttering now, we'll gain more energy and time for our family, ourselves, or other critical priorities later. Our emotional state and health will also improve. In doing so, we shift from being reactive to proactive, eliminating frustration and guilt over postponing decluttering and replacing the negative emotions with a sense of control over our lives. For example, you could take a day or two off from work, or reduce your work hours to make time for decluttering, family, and hobbies. Personally, I switched to a part-time schedule to free up time for these priorities. As the decluttering momentum builds, you'll need less time for it and can return the time to the life areas where it's most needed. As mentioned earlier, you can make time for decluttering by temporarily lowering other priorities on your priority ladder. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that these areas will suffer. Here's why. You can reduce time spent on certain tasks by optimizing and combining them. For example, when soaking your feet, you can listen to a podcast on personal development or a YouTube video about your hobbies. Sometimes I share food soaking time with my son. Kids love splashing in water. This way, I combine self-care with quality time together with my son. Think about your tasks that consume a lot of time and ask, can they be optimized or combined with something else? What about making double amount of food while cooking and freezing the extra portions to save time later by just reheating the food? I used to drop off recycling on my way to the nursery school or grocery store. If you have your own tips for optimizing tasks, please feel free to share them in the comments. Your ideas could significantly help the others watching this video. To reduce conflicts between priorities, try integrating decluttering into your existing life areas and activities. Let me give you a personal example. I've always loved YouTube as a social platform. I enjoy sharing useful experiences and teaching others. So I long wanted to start a YouTube channel. Initially, I chose a topic for my channel that had nothing to do with decluttering. But I quickly realized that working on this topic was causing me immense stress. Creating videos was taking time away from my home and other priorities, and I wasn't even sure if the channel would succeed. That's why I decided to start a YouTube channel on decluttering instead. I told myself, even if the channel doesn't become popular, at least I'll declutter my home. On my priority ladder, decluttering falls under household tasks, while YouTube belongs to hobbies. By integrating the two, I could balance both. Of course, I can still temporarily pause my blogging on YouTube or remove it from my priorities if I need more time for decluttering or something else. You can make decluttering a shared activity by involving family members. Though not the most romantic activity, it can still be a valuable bonding experience for the whole family. Personally, I prefer declutter alone and in silence, in order to be able to focus on how specific items make me feel. Because of decision fatigue, it's often easier for me to work in quiet. However, when possible, I include my son in the process. For him, it becomes a new play environment, sparking his imagination. When you declutter yourself, you also motivate all the children to tidy up without having to be a naggy parent. You can also treat decluttering as a mindfulness exercise. Focus on the process, notice how it clears not just your space but your mind, and enjoy the sense of accomplishment. Decluttering removes excess, creates a peaceful environment, and reduces stress. These are all acts of self-care, positively affecting your overall well-being. So don't be frustrated if your self-care has to be moved down on your priority ladder for the sake of decluttering, because decluttering itself can become a powerful act of self-care. Freeing up time for decluttering also means letting go of perfectionism. I know firsthand how difficult it can be to abandon perfectionism, especially if it's ingrained from childhood. But choosing perfectionism comes at a cost, sometimes an enormous one, measured in hours, weeks, or even months, taken from the areas we value most. Perfectionists often waste energy and time on mundane tasks where quality doesn't matter, or on activities where the perfectionist's efforts go unappreciated. To escape this trap, try setting time limits for your tasks and sticking to them. You need to complete the task as best you can within the allotted time. For example, decide that cleaning the stove shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Do your best in that time and leave any remaining spot for next time. Test different stove cleaners and cleaning techniques, and gradually you will be able to do it well in the allotted time. While cleaning the toilet, remove the worst dirt first and clean the rest as time remains, and optimize the process every time you do it. So rearranging your priorities is about aligning your daily actions with your long-term goals. By intentionally shifting focus and making room for decluttering, you'll not only create a cleaner, more organized home, but also a more balanced and fulfilling life. So take a deep breath, reassess your priorities, and take the first step towards a clutter-free home, because it's worth it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.